Hello and welcome. Thanks for tuning in to this recording of our brand overview. We're very excited to bring Horsepower Brands on board with the BAI network. And part of that introduction are these individual brand overviews. And today we are highlighting Bumblebee Blinds with the Vice President of Franchise Development, Courtney Carter-Reppert, here with us. And if you have questions, her information is on the page below, so feel free to reach out. And with that, Courtney, I'll go ahead and hand things over to you.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for having me. Courtney Carter-Reppert here. Super excited to talk to you guys about Bumblebee Blinds. Let's go ahead and dive in and learn and talk about what the buzz is about here. Give me just one second. All right, that's a little background about me. I've been in franchising since 2010. Um, why do I bring this up? I've been a franchisee. I was a multi-unit franchisee, and I really do try to customize your candidate's experience as they go through the discovery process and really try to be a great leader and mentor to them. Obviously, because this is something that I've done and I've taken that leap of faith, left a typical corporate America role, and went in and bet on myself through franchise ownership. Successfully exited those locations about 4 years ago, got really passionate about home services, and currently sit as the Vice President of Development here at Horsepower Brands. So, very fortunate to get to do what I do. My husband and I, like I said, very passionate about home services. So, love being able to get the opportunity to work on some home service brands that I have a lot of faith and confidence in. So, a little bit about our discovery process. So there's two videos we send all the candidates prior to their introduction call with me. There's going to be one video that's about Bumblebee Blinds, and then there's one video about Horsepower Brands. I know it might sound cheesy or cliche, but those videos do kind of help to lay the foundation because we go through ownership types, we go through startup items, starting, with that one sales vehicle. We go through how many territories we've awarded, our national footprint. So again, that candidate just comes to me with a layer of foundation as far as where has the brand been, where is the brand today, what are some of the startup items that I need to get going, what are the ownership types. Bumblebee has an at-home option as an example, so it kind of walks through some of those options. So they would watch those videos, then we would complete an introduction call. The purpose of the introduction call is to really take that information and build off of what they learned in those videos. Second call being that unit economics call, all the financial questions. It's an 8-tab Microsoft Excel workbook, pro forma builder, investment calculator, market research tool. Really, all the financial aspects of the business get covered in that unit economics call. Once you get past that unit economics call, you get invited to our leadership call. So you can start hopping on, meeting Bumblebee Blinds franchisees, meeting the brand team, and then, of course, learning more about our parent company, Horsepower Brands. We would do a territory mapping call. I was fortunate that I was one of the first, I think, 20 to 25 employees hired at Horsepower Brands. We now have 150. So I got to work hand in hand with a lot of the kind of original territory mapping advisors. And so I have a lot of experience in territory mapping, and I would do that exercise with your candidates. Final call is going to be business review just to kind of answer any final questions. And then the last step in our process is to do a discovery day. I like to let people know Discovery Day is not a signing day for us, but more an opportunity to take everything you learn virtually and essentially apply that in person to kind of dot I's, cross T's, match. Okay, this is what I learned virtually. Now I get to see it in person and really just make sure there's a great alignment between both the franchisor as well as that prospective franchisee. So that's kind of our typical discovery process. The videos that I just mentioned actually link directly into the Discovery Center. So Horsepower Brands, as an example, has a fleet of Z services. We have a recruiting agency. We've got a call center. We own our own fleet dealership. Several services that we can offer at a much lower cost of goods price point. And so the videos are obviously in the Discovery Center, but the Discovery Center is constantly updated, an interactive tool. So that way, as your candidate is going through the process, yes, they're going to likely have a weekly call cadence with me. I'm going to be running them through things. They're going to be invited to validation. But if they're sitting up at 10 o'clock at night and they're like, oh, shoot, I forgot what Courtney said about this, they can just go into the Discovery Center. There's tons of videos within there. We've rolled out, as an example, a ton of AI sales coaching tools. So, really innovative tools to help franchisees with sales coaching of their employees. And actually, all the new AI stuff that we've rolled out that supports our franchisees is also now in the Discovery Center. So, a great little kind of portal area where everything you'd want to know about the brand as well as horsepower can be found there. diving more into the brand specifically with Bumblebee Blinds. So this just kind of talks about integration, right? We've got Horsepower, which is our parent company. We have Howie, which is essentially our own Angie's List that kind of integrates and is almost like a lead generating and networking tool for all of our franchisees. Then we have our Z Services, which again, those integrate and support all 9 of our brands. And then obviously we've got the Bumblebee Blinds logo there as well. This talks a little bit about our history and story as far as where Horsepower's been and where we're going. So, as you can see there, Mighty Dog Roofing, all the way through to our latest brand launch with Varsity Zone, Bumblebee. We launched in November of 2022. We went into franchise development on this brand in March of 2023. I like to share the history of where we launched Bumblebee Blinds because when you look at the cost of goods contracts and some of the really good contracts that we have in place with this brand, by the time we launched Bumblebee Blinds, we already had over 300 franchisees. We were in over 1,000 territories nationally. People knew who Horsepower Brands was. And so, I have to be honest and partial that I love kind of the time that Bumblebee Blinds launched because honestly, we were already a pretty large portfolio company by the time we launched this brand. So, our contract with Hunter Douglas, our contract with Universal Screens, like all the little extras that we can get our franchisees and our kind of negotiating power that we have with Bumblebee Blinds, I think has a lot to do with when we launched this brand. Again, we were already around, had launched 6 previous brands prior to launching this one. So again, we were well known, everything we've been able to get from cost of goods price points to full warranties to having 100% North American based supply chain. A lot of that had to do with the fact that obviously Josh Skolnick, our founder, his reputation, our financial capital, but then in addition to that, the reputation and how big of a portfolio we were prior to launching. Let's talk a little bit about the window treatment industry just in general, why people want to get into this industry. So, what we've seen is after COVID, people value privacy now more than ever. We have remote work, we have hybrid work, and people are just home more and they're starting to realize, hey, I want privacy. I want to feel comfortable in my space. There's been a lot of research coming out. 40% of a home or business's energy efficiency actually goes out the windows. It's kind of a cliche saying, but that is literally and factually true. So nowadays, there's actually a product that helps to preserve energy efficiency. And we sell those products, and the federal government now offers the $1,200 federal tax credit for those homeowners or business owners that install that because it helps to preserve energy efficiency so much. So I think a lot of times, 5 years ago, we were like, well, what are we going to do for installation on a house or a business? And now they're like, hey, what are we doing for window treatments? I think now more and more people are starting to recognize the energy efficient solutions that these products offer. In addition to that, this is one of the easiest things you can do to improve the look and feel of a home or business. Back in September, got new window treatments. I got 9 windows done. I moved into an existing property that was not new construction, but one of the ways that I wanted to make this home feel more like my own was to update the window treatments. And I had new window treatments installed within about 2 hours. The installer had everything installed. So yeah, I always like to tell the story. I also had my basement done and I had clanging, banging, loud construction going on in my basement for 5 months. So again, you want to talk about just kind of like an easier thing that you can do to a home or business to give it a facelift, give it an upgrade, redo your window treatments. There's no clanging, no banging, no contractors on your property for 5 months, ringing your doorbell, showing up at your house or business. And it again provides this really nice update to a property without all the headache of major construction going on. We get really excited about where we know the window treatment industry is heading. And this, when you look at, Bumblebee and all the interest we've had in this brand, and you look at the success of the window treatment industry in general, it's heavily based off of this data. So, back in 2024, the window treatment industry was about a $27 billion industry. We're now projected to be about a $34 billion industry by 2029. I always say the window treatment industry in the last 12 months, we went through like getting the first iPhone. So in the last 12 to 16 months, there's been some really pivotal new product that has come out, and consumers are now aware, oh my gosh, there's smart home product now. I can get stuff that syncs with Amazon Alexa, Google Home, Siri, iPhone, iPad. I've been to churches and banks where you can literally watch their window treatments automatically go up and down. They've got timers on everything where, you don't have somebody over there rolling with cords, right? Like literally, these are automated products that are designed to go up and down based on the time of day. In events, I know even event venues now that have automated window treatments that are designed to go up and down based on their event schedule. So again, smart home product has really taken our industry by storm. This is a higher average ticket opportunity. Consumers want it, they value it, they don't want to mess with cords, anything like that. So our industries also went through a really big boom in these new smart home technology pieces. What makes Bumblebee blinds different? So the window treatment industry is still very much chuck in a truck and bucket Bob out there doing old school fashion measurements, showing up in a rusty old pickup truck or an old van. It's still a very fragmented blue collar industry. And so what Horsepower Brands does great is they come in and they add a lot of technology to typically what is a very blue collar customer experience. So we have a digital sales process. And again, our Bumblebee team has over 60 plus years of combined experience. Our director of onboarding, training, and support, her name is Mary Sayer. She herself was a design consultant for over 10 years and is one of the key and pivotal people that we hired. She is absolutely considered an industry expert. She doesn't have just, home service experience. She has over a decade of experience in window treatment specifically, was out in homes and in businesses designing and booking jobs. And so has booked obviously well over $1 million in revenue in the window treatment space. So she's one of the pivotal people that we have on the Bumblebee Blinds team that's helped create our customer experience to make it different and better than anyone else out there. A part of that digital sales process is we do have a visualizer tool. So we can actually show up, take a picture of any set of windows, and virtually design in real time with the client. We have a laser measurement tool that actually syncs to the iPad. It saves all those measurements in the CRM under the customer's profile, so you never have to go back and remeasure. A lot of these mom and pops are still using old school fashion measuring tapes, making errors, and therefore ordering product that would come in the wrong size. And then the last step being customer financing. So we do have the ability, we can get an approval for them directly on the spot to do customer financing. And so again, that's a great kind of opportunity there. If they want to do financing, we can do that. The franchisee would get their payment from the vendor, and then the customer moves over and sets up a monthly payment plan with that financing vendor. Let's talk about customer segmentation. So we are a B2B and B2C concept. We do residential and we do commercial work. And I like to mention that because sometimes I think when people think about window treatments, they only think residential. Yes, we do residential, but as all of our locations ramp up, they do more and more and more commercial. So we may start at 80% residential and 20% commercial, but eventually it goes 70-30, 60-40. And as we again ramp up, we do get more and more commercial work. I would say, especially our city markets, our Austin, Texas owner, a lot of our owners, we have a call center. And so, yeah, we want our owners to go out and meet with realtors and contractors and interior designers because those people will give our franchisees completely free organic leads. They don't specialize in window treatments. Their clients typically need window treatments. So they are looking for a professional, sophisticated referral source for their client based on obviously what they do on a day-to-day basis. So they don't do window treatments, but they're looking for somebody that does. So you can get free organic leads that way. But in addition to that, we do have a call center and we have franchisees that will get residential leads from the call center as well as commercial leads. So, again, we are a B2B and a B2C concept. We do interior work. We also do exterior work. So we can do privacy screens, weather protection, insect protection, four-season rooms. A lot of people don't realize that we do that. So we have a great partnership with a company called Universal Screens. They're outside of Dallas, Texas. I think they're the best in the entire world. When you look at their product in comparison to some of the market research that we've done, a lot, even in like Nashville, Tennessee, it's a lot of mom and pop that do like maybe 5 to 6 products. Their website looks like it's from the 1980s. You go to the Universal Screens website and you're like, holy cow, smart home automation, privacy screens, beautiful engineering, beautiful color schemes, your grays, your blacks, your tans, your more modern color schemes. And we're very fortunate to have a contract with them. So again, we can do the interior. We can also do the exterior. This just again kind of goes through those customer segmentations that I was just chatting about. Let's talk a little bit about, again, that customer financing so we can get up to 0% interest. We can get that approval on the spot through that digital sales process. So your average customer experience when you call a window treatment provider is they're going to show up. They're going to have an old school notebook and a pen. They're going to show up. They're going to scribble some stuff down on a pen and a piece of paper. And they're going to say, hey, Heath, it was really great chatting with you. I'm going to come back in 3 days and I'll get you a quote. So they don't have the technology to quote these people on the spot. Where we do, we can do a visualizer tool, we can do a laser tool, all that. The product saves to the CRM, the measurements save to the CRM. So that's forever locked into the CRM under that customer's name. So we'll always know what product they ordered, their measurements, how many windows they ordered. All of that is done. We can do customer financing. And because our quoting software is also built into that digital sales process, we can auto generate an accurate quote that's within our target margin area to all of those kind of technology pieces there. So really cool little process. When you look at our customer, or when you look at our close ratio, beings that it is a bit on the higher side, really that is the why, is because when somebody contacts a window treatment provider, they've already made up their mind. I don't know how to do this, or I don't want to do this, right? There's not a lot of big debate that goes on. So they just need somebody to come in, help them pick out product, get measurements on the windows, and help them to get that product ordered. So if you can go in and really answer all those questions, you have a really good opportunity to go ahead and get that job booked directly on the spot. It's just, again, a lot of our competitors don't have the technology to be able to auto generate a quote utilizing technology right within that kind of 2 hour window of our consultation there. When you look at the national footprint of Bumblebee, we have had an exponential amount of growth over the last 2.5 years. We are kind of everywhere at this point. We are not yet live in California and New York. Do plan to go live in California and New York, but at this point, 250 territories in, with over 220 territories open live and booking jobs in their market. What does that mean for your candidate? They're not getting in on a brand that we're like crossing our fingers, like, I don't know if this is going to work or not, right? Like, we have a program that we know is successful. We don't want people that necessarily have a background in window treatments. You don't need to come to us with a background in it. We already have a system and a process. We have an onboarding cadence. We have a program that we built out. We believe in it. We know it works. We're seeing success with our franchisees. Those that follow that faithfully, they're achieving their financial goals, utilizing Bumblebee Blinds as the widget to kind of get them to their why. And so again, large national footprint. You're going to have almost 100 franchisees that you can pick up the phone and call and say, how are you doing this? Or what are you doing about this? Or all these different things. As we've grown as a brand, we also now have a franchisee mentorship program where you can actually get on and actually meet with other franchisees that have built multi-million-dollar window treatment businesses with us, and they're going to give you the answers to the test. So yes, your territory will be assigned a franchise business coach, and yes, we have a headquartered team, but we also believe there's nobody better to learn from than somebody that's in their market, applying best practices and knowing the do's and don'ts of how to be successful with the brand. So we do have that in place with Bumblebee Blinds. With the brand, we do define a territory by 200,000 in population. We offer what's called a rolling discount on franchise fees. So as you add in territory, you do get a built-in discount. One really big thing that people love about Bumblebee Blinds is whether you buy 1 or 5 territories, you start with one sales vehicle and one opening package. So your overall investment on this brand isn't doubling, tripling, or quadrupling based on how much territory you're purchasing. People love that, because they're like, hey, I can buy more zip codes, generate more revenue, build a bigger business that I can make more money off of. And from a debt service perspective, because of the rolling discount on franchise fees, and because everything else startup cost wise is pretty much the exact same, my debt service really doesn't change that much on a monthly basis. So people like that. That's definitely a big positive of the brand. We get compliments on that a lot. We in 2025, we are now in a position where we are, again, been at this for 2.5 years, 250 territories deep. So we are now in a position where we can allow our owners to reinvest back into their franchises. So we rolled out a tiered royalty deduction plan. So kind of how this would work is if you do up to $500,000, it's a 6% royalty. Or $500,000 to $1 million, it's a 5% royalty. And then if you do more than $1 million in a fiscal year, it's a 4% royalty. We have a prepay option for our first year franchisees where they can prepay $20,000 in royalties. That's available for first year only. And then after that, you'd have that 654 deduction plan. I feel like we have a really smart group of franchisees. They're very supportive. They're also very smart. And we have gotten an overwhelming amount of excitement and positivity about this new royalty structure because I think they look at this and see, I can totally hit that tier two, or I'm totally going to hit that tier three in a fiscal year, right? So I think if they felt like these revenue tiers were insanely difficult, they would be knocking on the door saying, "Hey guys, this seems a little, difficult." We've gotten an overwhelming amount of excitement and positivity about our new royalty structure. As I go through it with candidates through the discovery process, they also like it a lot. So we're very happy that our parent company Horsepower Brands decided to do this with the brand. It's created a lot of excitement and energy within our system.
Just a quick question on the
Yeah.
royalties,
hmm
Courtney. Does that reset each year, or once a franchisee gets to 1 million, then their royalty from then on is 5% or 4%?
It's looked at on a fiscal year by fiscal year basis.
Okay.
Yep. But I mean, the good thing is again, that first year you can do the prepay of the 20,000, and then
Mhm.
going into which 20,000, I mean, that's a pretty good deal when you run the math on it, right? Like, it's a pretty good deal if you were to calculate out the percentage. And then going into your second year, obviously, goal being that you've already ramped the business up, all the little nuances and things you've already kind of got figured out. You've got your team in place and you're kind of rolling and humming. So
Yeah.
then you're in a much more hockey stick type of effect where getting after those additional tiers, you're in a position to be able to do that.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm. There is one more thing that isn't on this slide, but I do want to highlight that I think is super cool about the window treatment industry. So, all of our manufacturers offer really good incentive trips. This is something that even as a developer, I'm learning more and more about. But it does kind of tie into obviously the royalty structure. But these manufacturers, I had one of my franchisees, my Charleston owner, he won a 10-day all inclusive paid trip for two to Italy, as well as a all-inclusive for two paid trip to Punta Cana just from the manufacturers. So I love that because obviously the Bumblebee and the Horsepower Group, they're giving you these royalty incentives, and then our manufacturers are phenomenal and offer these really cool incentive trips. So I do like to mention that because hey, there's nothing more rewarding after that first year in business than finding out that wow, you worked your tushy off, but guess what? You just won a 10-day trip to Italy. That's pretty cool. So I do like to mention that as well. I want to talk a little bit about our ideal franchisee. We have been fortunate to create a very supportive franchisee community. I think when you look at what maybe you would say our Bumblebee Blinds team is most proud of, it is the quality of the franchisee that we've been able to attract. And when I say that, I'm not talking somebody that has an extensive background in window treatments. I'm talking about people that are excited about the brand, that are supportive to other franchisees, that want to roll out this incredible brand all across the United States and truly, change people's lives for the better in their community. That is what I think is one of the huge differentiators of this brand is that we've been very fortunate to have a lot of consultant buy-in. They've sent us a lot of really high quality franchisees. Again, these are CEOs, SVPs. None of them had a background in window treatments. A lot of them just really sick of corporate America, not in alignment with their corporate America job, needing to do something different for themselves and their family, and came to Bumblebee to make that change and change their lives, their families' lives, and the people in their community. So, again, we do not need you to have a background in window treatments. In fact, we've got a great team that's going to train you on what we feel is the right way to do it. But we want people that want to make an impact in their community, see the opportunity to get involved in a brand that is a larger national footprint, that has a really supportive community of other franchisees. I was a franchisee for 8 years, and I don't think I've ever seen a brand with more support from a franchisee to franchisee perspective as far as the comfortability to pick up and call a neighbor and say, "Hey, I've got this going on. What do you think I should do?" Or, "Hey, this is a best practice or a marketing strategy I think I'm going to try. What do you think about this?" It is truly so cool to see. And we feel just so excited about that. And I think that's one of the reasons, obviously, people get into a franchise is that community and that support. So just knowing that that's kind of that candidate that we're looking for is, hey, we got a really great community of supportive people. They're really excited about what we're doing. And we want you to be a part of that. So that's more kind of that type of person that we'd be looking for. In addition to that, one of the things that I get really excited about with Bumblebee is I was a brick and mortar franchisee. I had high end brick and mortar concepts, and I loved my businesses. I had a successful venture, and I sold my locations 4 years later. But I am now a mom of three kids. I am as busy as it gets. And I always joke, if I can get into a business that I can build and scale without expensive rent, expensive utilities, and a bossy landlord, amen to that and sign me up, right? And so people get really excited about the at home option. Do you have to do this forever? Absolutely not. You could run it out of your business for the first year as you're ramping up and scaling up. If you do switch into a flex space, it's only about 400 square feet. So again, we're not this high end brick and mortar concept. You're looking at hopefully like 2 to 3 year lease terms, 400 square feet, not high end brick and mortar. But again, I want as much money going back into our franchisees' pockets as possible. And I think that's what every consultant wants, and that's what every franchisee wants. And one of the ways that we can eliminate the middleman is by saying we have an at-home option. So, brick and mortar landlord, we need you, but we also don't. And so this is a really cool thing that I think as we evolve as a society, people want to have this flexibility. Again, they can go get a flex space. And honestly, we have some owners that are so busy that they have done just that, right? They're running multi-million dollar window treatment businesses. But for that first year, maybe 6 to 12 months, they did run it out of their house. They got their feet underneath them, fixed expenses low to make sure that as much profitability was coming back to their pocket as possible. So this is a really cool feature of our brand. This just kind of goes into it a little bit more. So again, just talking about, kind of that minimum 100 to up to 400 square feet. This is not a 12 to 1500 square foot high-end brick and mortar space, right? So smaller flex space size. We do have a real estate site consultant at Horsepower Brands that can help these owners find a flex space, negotiate the contract terms, make sure they're not signing anything that it wouldn't be advantageous for the franchisee. But again, that at-home option is available there. Again, I like to emphasize whether you buy 1 or 5 territories with us, you still just start with that one sales vehicle. I love that you can grow into the volume of your business. We don't want to bury you on a ton of fixed expenses. I like to give a shout out to our CEO, Tony Hobart. He's an accountant by trade, and he was one of the key people that was able to hone in and identify, you know what, with this brand, you can just start with one sales vehicle, do about 800,000 in revenue, and get yourself to a really healthy financial position before we're going to bury you with 2 sales vehicles and all this extra stuff, right? So you can grow into your revenue and then add as you need following this revenue trajectory plan. So as your business needs it, we're going to help you find it, but we're not going to bury you with all of those fixed expenses day one, right? Grow into the business, grow into your revenue, ramp and scale and add as needed without burying you with a bunch of additional things. Also have to give a shout out to the people that made our marketing for Bumblebee. Great logos, great branding. We strategically park this car in front of every single house or business that we do a consultation and talk about like the domino effect or the canvassing effect. We will get additional inquiries from residential, people, commercial people, just because they see the Bumblebee Blinds branding, they see the phone number, the website on the side of there. We've had people take pictures of the brand or the van as it's driving. So the branding and the effectiveness of this wrap, it's definitely there. It works as far as getting our owners additional lead flow and paying for itself in that way. So with Bumblebee Blinds, we have an owner operator model, we have a semi-involved model. It's going to be a very low W-2 business regardless because all of your window treatment installers are 1099. Do you have to put all your installers on 1099? No, you can make them W-2, but we're going to ask the question, why would you do that? The whole window treatment industry is set up where all the installers are typically 1099. They get paid a percentage of each job. They keep more of their money in their pocket with that 1099 comp plan, and it works. So again, it just kind of goes back to that old adage of if it's not broke, why are we fixing it? So we don't make our owners put their installers 1099, but it works. We get a lot of applications. We don't get a lot of issues or complaints with it. So again, if it's not broken, why fix it? If somebody wants to be semi-involved, they would need to start with a general manager, essentially filling in that overall leadership position on the business. And then they would start with the design consultant role, which again, that's kind of the sales position. If you're an owner operator, we just ask that you ask the question, what am I better at? Am I better at sales or am I better at operations? If you're better at operations, you're going to take on more of that general manager role. You're going to hire a salesperson. If you're better at sales, likely you're probably going to take on more of that sales role and then hire somebody that's more efficient in the operations side of the business. Technology, so we've chatted a little bit about this, but again, we've got a visualizer tool, laser measurement tool, customer financing. all built into this really nice digital sales process. Again, kind of talking about try before they buy. It shifts the customer mindset from I'm being sold something to I want what I saw. So people get really excited when they can see their home, their business with the product on the actual site there. We talked about the laser measurement tool, easy and efficient quoting software. So we have done a really good job. We recognize that 95% of the people that come to us have zero background in window treatments. We want this consultation to be about 2 hours. We don't need to be in there 3.5, 4 hours. That is not, it becomes analysis by paralysis at that point. So we have really created a nice digital sales process on an iPad. It's a step-by-step process with the laser tool, the quoting software. So again, we always like to say we want to be able to give a down to the penny quote on the spot that's accurate, that's on the spot within that 2 hour window of that consultation. Very proud of our product. So we have a contract with Hunter Douglas. We're fortunate to have a very good contract with them. We actually own our own independent product line, Lux High Fashions. That is Bumblebee Blinds franchisee exclusive. There's no minimum requirements on that, but it is a very competitive, low cost of goods price point. So specifically when our owners are going out to bid on commercial jobs, it's a great product to show. Alta Window Fashions is another one of our interior manufacturers. They're actually owned by Hunter Douglas, and then Universal Screens is that exterior solutions provider, which again, weather protection, insect protection, privacy screens, all that good stuff would be covered with them. We have something called the Frontify Marketing Hub. This is kind of your one-stop shop. I show your candidates this as they go through the discovery process. Typically, we go through this on our introduction call. It is your one-stop shop for everything you could possibly think of for Bumblebee Blinds. The marketing wraps for the sales vehicles are on there. There's employee gear and clothing. There's direct mailer templates, social media templates, Valpak templates, door hangers. I mean, literally, you could go through that website for a day and not get all the way through it. There's multiple links, portals, anything and everything you can imagine, from home and garden show materials, employee clothing, marketing pieces, you name it, it is in this hub. And that is available obviously to all the franchisees in the system. And then let's talk a little bit about coaching. So all of our territories are assigned a franchise business coach. They're going to be facilitating weekly, monthly calls, running through those KPIs. They go on site. So that very first week when that owner opens, they're going to go on site and help to facilitate coaching on site with the franchise business coaches there and the franchisees. And then again, we have that franchisee mentorship program where we're able to go on and kind of mentor owners, with existing owners that are achieving success with the brand. Going through customer acquisition. So again, this just kind of talks about all the different ways that we get in front of our customer. The basic stuff actually really works really well for this brand. So yard signs, door hangers, just general mail, those types of things actually work really well for capturing our customer. We do use kind of a canvassing effect. So we have a technology tool called Spotio for canvassing, which actually helps us to track where we've been, where we're going, so that as we are canvassing neighborhoods, we have the ability to track a lot of that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, Heath, if that's okay. But again, with Bumblebee, super excited to work with you guys. Again, my name's Courtney, Vice President of Operations with Bumblebee. Would love to work with you guys, run you through the brand, work with your candidates. It'll be another busy year. It already has been. We've done about 50 new territories since January 1st.
Wow.
So looking forward to working with you guys. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much, Courtney. Great overview of the brand. And we're looking forward to bringing some quality candidates your way soon.
awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Yep.